Welcome to the Iron Breed Podcast. My name is Austin, and here again with me today is Gerard.
What's going on, everyone? Hope y'all been having a good week, making dues, putting in that work, and we're gonna hit you with an interesting one today. Something that we all kind of have trouble with, but comparison. Why do we compare? Is it any good for us? Nah, I can tell you right now, it's not. But that's what we're getting into today: comparison.
Ironically, this is actually something that we struggle with too. So it's kind of, which in a way is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's kind of not. And here's why: because it's like cool that we're doing a podcast talking about it, and it makes it super relatable because we also struggle with it. But then at the same time, you're probably listening and like, well, shit, you guys struggle with it, then why should I listen to you about it? It's because we all struggle with this. And if we're being completely honest, this is something that Gerard and I mean, when we do specifically talking about Iron Breed, we kind of struggle with this a lot, because we always compare like, oh, we should be doing more, which we know that there's definitely things that we could be doing more. I know we haven't probably been, we've been consistent with podcasts, but there's other things that we could be doing a little bit better. And we both agree on that, and, it's very easy for us to go look at other people and be like, well, shit, that's what they're doing. Why are we not doing this? Or like, we do this a lot. We talk about that a lot. And it's one of those things that, if we keep doing that, it just makes us feel worse about what we're doing. And it doesn't actually really provide us with any solid answers of what we should do moving forward or how we should go about fixing the issue. So really, by us spending that time to compare, like, oh, well, they're doing this and we're not, and like that makes us so much more inferior. Like looking at where someone else is at, it's like, look, someone else is where they are because they made a different set of choices and they're doing a different set of things that you are. We could do the exact same things that XYZ fitness account does, and we might not be in the same place as them. Everybody's going to have a different path. Everybody's going to make different choices. Everybody's going to get different reactions and responses for that. So just because we try and do emulate them, like that would be like trying to release a clothing company and trying to copy. I don't know, like what's
Like Hate Brand or Iron Rebel or any of the big name ones, or like Alpha has been huge.
stuff like that, like trying to copy their business model. Well, we're not them. They're not us. Like their business model is not gonna work for us. You know what I mean? Like that's just it is what it is. So like if we look at them and we're like, oh wow, look at them, they're so successful, like, and we're not, like, well, no shit, because we're not them. So we got to build our own success with our own model. That's really what it is. So, not to make it. I know that was like a little off topic, Gerard, but it was like really it's just we're no different than you, and this is something that we struggle with too, but we try to remind ourselves that by us doing that, it's really not making anything better or easier for us. It's actually making it harder and just makes us feel worse for not doing it, because
Yeah. And I think it's so true. I think it was right on topic, honestly, man, because if you think about it, like people probably wonder, like, or like we all wonder if you're like, oh, how did that person do that? Or if I do it like them, I get that? And so like why we compare, why we do it. And I think a big part of that comes from insecurity and where we're at right now, and then also jealousy. Jealousy is a huge thing. Jealousy, nobody likes to admit it, but we all feel it. And comparison is always a way of one either kind of that jealousy seeping out and you being like, well, I want that. How come I don't have that? Why am I not doing to get that? Or also, if you compare and you say, oh, well, I'm doing that and they're not, now I'm a step above. I just put myself up on a pedestal for it. And so comparison seems to be a ego booster and it's something that devalues it also. And we've hit on before. The ego is really no good for you, man. It's gonna skew you and make you view things in all types of crooked ways. And so it's not worth it. It's not worth it to compare. We might see individuals that we admire and that we aspire to be like and take valuable lessons and like, advice, but we don't have to devalue ourselves for not being just like them or not doing what they're doing. This saying is true, and I really love this one. Is we all run our own race. And while you may get distracted when someone's passing you in another lane, regardless of who's ahead of you or who's behind you, are in your own lane, and you are running it at your pace. Just run your. It does you no good to be like, man, how'd they do that? I want to do that. Just devalues it.
Oh, it's so true. It truly is so true. You know, the reason why our internet is so unstable is probably because my phone is on my Wi-Fi. Because who would have thought that in 2020, when you pay for, internet, that heaven forbid having more than one anything hooked up to it would just cause it all to go to shit. Who would have thought? 2020, what a year.
Right? We need that fiber optics. But honestly, they go right on comparison. If you think that me and Austin aren't like, dang, we wish we had a studio and had a million followers like Joe Rogan, trust me, we feel like that every time we record. But you know what? We get where we're at. We get this is what we got to do. We got to put out content. We got to build an audience. We know how many people view our stuff, and we're appreciative of the ones that we do. And we know where we want to be. But we don't listen to all these other podcasts and immediately start going like, man, we're not doing that. We're not there yet. How did they do that? We got to be us. We got to put out our own content and what we feel like talking about and do it consistently. So that's what we've been doing. And,
Exactly.
honestly, Austin, we could be honest. We need to post more. We do. We were
Oh,
just
yeah,
talking
for
about
sure.
this. And so,
Yeah. And that's just our like being real moment with everybody else. But that's that's one of those things that I have always struggled with, because for me, it's been like I don't want to do the hard shit. It's hard for me. For some people, it's not hard, and like I honestly sometimes am a little jealous of them, because I'm like, damn, you can just post this shit, and it almost seems as if you don't care. That's really sick. I wish I was doing that, because if I was doing that, I could be doing your level too, or be it where you are right now too. And that's where that comparison comes in. You just see, or you feel devalued because you're like, damn, that other person is here, and it's because they're doing this and I'm not doing that. Therefore, I'm not at that level either. So it's so easy to do that, and really all it does is just make you feel worse. And if you're, let's just say you're not having the best of days, and then you start comparing, it kind of devalues everything that is going right in your life. Because chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, your life is probably not awful, and probably it's probably not. Like, let's be real. And if it is, like, it could probably be a lot worse too. So, so it's just one of those things that But like when you're constantly like comparing and contrasting situations, it's not like that's okay. That perfect example, right? I am, I don't want to say lucky enough, but I am fortunate enough that I get to drive a Cadillac every single day. That would be like me getting in that car, driving past another Cadillac that's a nicer version than the one I have, or a newer, better model, and being like, ugh, I wish I had that. Mine sucks. I'm sitting in a Cadillac. How can I sit there and say this car sucks? I can't. I can't. If I'm being completely honest. And that's not me trying to be like a dick and like brag about that. I'm just saying that with that, like, you know what I mean? I am like stoked that every single day I get to sit in that car and drive to work or drive to the gym. Like, to me, that's absolutely stoked. So like, why would I go and look at those other cars? Like, because I pass them every single day, every day I see one, and I'm like, yo, squad. But then I'm like, yo, your car's like literally that much more expensive or nicer than mine. I could sit there and be like, damn, that kind of sucks, because like I'm driving, I don't know, the not highest end, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I'm like,
yeah,
what I got. So
it doesn't. And we all do it. We all do it. The gym is a perfect example. And especially if you're new and you're starting out in the weight room, do not compare. You do not compare because you don't want to tell yourself that you're less than. You don't want to tell yourself, "Oh, why can't I bench 225 already? Why can't I lift all this weight?" it takes time, and everyone's different in every aspect. So you got to figure out what training works for you. And seriously, you just have to work. You just have to work. Like I can generally remember a point in time where I was so self-conscious about comparing myself to like, because I was small, I was skinny, that I would wear long sleeve shirts to the gym to hide how small my arms were. And then I got to a point where I felt like, okay, I can wear a t-shirt. I'll be all right. And I start feeling a little good. You get a little muscle. You start learning a little more. And as you see in all these podcasts, if you're on YouTube, I'm in a tank top like 99% of the time. It takes time. It takes time. Don't compare. It's just gonna distract you from what you're trying to do and where you're at with yourself.
Yeah, it really does create all sorts of unnecessary stuff. And I mean, I see it all the time with like lifting and everybody, they're like, oh, like I want to be like XYZ fitness model or person like that. Well, either one, that person's been training for longer than you have even known what lifting weights is. A lot of these fitness models that you see, it's like shit, they spent probably more, like most of them have probably been training longer than you've been alive,
Yeah,
or like longer than you've been doing a whole lot of things. So it's,
yeah.
I would hope that after 16, 20 years of training that their physique would look that great. I truly do.
Or to put it in perspective real quick, Austin, like how long would you say you've truly been training? And then to follow up with that, are you at the place where you want to be at right now? Because what you're about to see, people, is he's going to give you the number that he said.
Oh fuck.
It,
Oh shit. Yeah, so,
neither
okay.
of us are where we want to be right now. And I
Oh
can say personally for me, I've been training, I would say like truly training like 5 years, 5 years. And that's with like inconsistency in that. So think about what like another 5 years of consistency. And am I gonna be happy with where I'm at then? Probably not.
so I started training 8 years ago, graduated high school. And my training has probably only been actually like on point and like really consistent. And I would qualify as like good for like 5 years. Now that's still 8 years total of training. And I will say, I probably do have better genetics than some in the muscle building department. I lucked out there. What I lacked in athletic ability is gets made up for with this genetic ability. And I'm okay with that. I wasn't okay with that when I was in high school and not as great at sports, but I'm okay with it now. So, but it's one of those things. And this actually, it's really funny because for the first time in my life, I have abs. I have pretty visible abs, right? The first time in my life. Some people would kill to be above 200 pounds and have visible abs at almost like any moment now at this point. And I take a picture of said abs or whatever in my kitchen almost every night. I think about posting it, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not really what I want to be. I'll be in the gym. I'll be in the gym. Maybe I'll be all pumped up because I'm like flat most of the day because I don't have a whole lot of carbs. So I'm in the gym when I actually do have my carbs finally, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like feeling kind of decent, like kind of strong. Somebody could come up and tell me that I'm big, and I'm like, nah, man. I'm really not like that big. I'm really not that strong. I'm just trying to get like bigger, stronger because I'm comparing myself to the level that I want to go to where I want to be to people that like I want to be on the level of, and I'm not there. Meanwhile, I'm walking around and there's people that probably go to the gym that want to be on the level that I'm at, and it's just one of those things comparison, like, am I like happy that I like am where I am? Oh, for sure. I am. But at the same time, I also want to be better and do better. So I'm always going to push myself to do more. And sometimes it comes at the cost of like also comparing myself to the level that I think I could be at. So
That's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, you gotta have goals, you gotta have aspirations, you gotta have a place, a destination for all this work you're doing, but you don't want to lose your way. You lose yourself on the way there. getting too caught up in what other people are doing. Because you will get there. You will get to that place. And you can have heroes, you can have people who motivate you, and you need mentors and guidance. But do not compare yourself to one, make yourself feel less than, or two, compare yourself to the people that you feel like are less than you. Because guess what? It's gonna come back and hit you one of these days, and you're gonna look at somebody and be like, "How'd they do all that?" Now you're stuck being the one who's quote unquote less than. Like, it does you no good. And so I like to wrap this up really with me and Austin can just, as you see, everyone does it. We do it daily. So what you can do is just be aware of it. Be aware when you're scrolling on Instagram and you're like, how do they do that? I want to do that. Wow, I need to look like that, live like that. That's a fraction. That's the glimpse of a person's life. And it's also the best part that they want to publicly put out and show to you. But moreover,
Usually.
you know, more
Just
focus on what
yeah.
yeah, focus on what you got. Focus on what you have going for you, what you have done. If you're brand new in the gym and you just benched 135 for the first time, focus on that. That's a milestone for some people. You just slapped on two plates and got 225 on bench, it's a milestone. Focus on what you're doing. Don't worry about what others are doing. Run your race.
I don't like running, but uh, that's
Lift your weights.
lift your own weights. Damn it. And then put them back.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, for those who don't, I'll make a lifting related version for you. But anyway, this was a good one. It's really just, we're no better than anybody else. We still struggle with the same stuff too. Just because we're doing stuff doesn't mean we're immune to anything. And just because, we may have seemed to have gotten somewhere or have nice things or look like we know what we're doing doesn't necessarily mean that either. So, we're just like you. And so we hope you find this relatable. Hope you find it helpful. Stay tuned because Gerard and I are going to have a lot of great content coming from when we hang out in Texas, which is my favorite state in this country. I haven't been to them all yet, but it is my favorite so far. So
It's gonna be my first time, so I'm ready. I might be doing like I don't know, a touristy purchase of a cowboy hat. I don't know if that offends anyone. I'm sorry, but when
good.
in Texas.
I'm gunning for Dr. Pepper shake at Whataburger.
Ooh.
For those that don't know, I mean, if you know me from Texas, you know that I love Whataburger. But if you don't know me from Texas, you should know that Whataburger is fantastic. And if you ever go to Texas, you need to go just because. Dr. is literally the only thing I've been thinking about for a couple of days
Has a cheat day, drives to Texas.
now. You laugh, but you laugh.
Ah, oh man. Well, on that note, people, let us know what you want to continue seeing us put out. Any ideas, content, yeah, as much that you can get back to us. So seriously, that's why we do this podcast as well.
Any guests that you want to see on the podcast? Now, obviously, don't hit us with some Conor McGregor or
We'll try. We'll do our best.
yeah, I'll hit up his PR man right now, see what's up. But of course, anybody that you think would be worth talking to or that you want to hear come on here, you think that it has a great story that deserves to be shared with everybody, please let us know.
Seriously.
So, all right. Thanks, y'all. It's been real. Thanks for listening to the Iron Breed Podcast.